question. So, Claire and I moved up from Birmingham. Still got a bit of a smoke, got a fellow Robbies at the back. So, we moved up 8 years ago this Easter.
No, I know.
And getting heckled. You've got to watch the people that sit at the back. It's always in trouble on this and that. So, we moved up 8 years ago, and the reason being really to get away from city life and what I've been doing for the last 22 years, which was teaching. So I taught in primary through 3 different schools, and sort of been there, done it, got the t-shirt, not senior management, what have you. Didn't want to go into headship, that wasn't for me. And just got to that point where it's like, do I want to do another 22 years in the classroom? No. So we had done something called Forest School, which I'll explain in a moment. Within our school setting, Claire worked in a different school, and she had done it there as well. And we decided that we'd move somewhere where we could set up our own forest school and have a change of life. So that's where we've come from. So why did we come to Carlisle? Another good question. I will say God led us here 100%. We decided we thought about moving further than 8 years ago, and the time just wasn't right. So it happened that when we did move, Emily had just finished college, and Jacob had just finished his GCSE, so it wasn't going to sort of mess around with their education. But before we moved, we were doing what you do, look on Rightmove, and where you're going to go, and trying to find a house with woodland, which is a bit of a hidden highway, is a lot harder than you can imagine. And we'd been up to the lakes a lot. My parents had a lodge in Arnside, so if you know Carnforth, over that area, South Lakes. So for about 10 years, every holiday pretty much, they've been a real blessing to us. We'd come up to the lakes. And one of the things I do, a bit like Mal, well, not like Mal, Mal's like that, but I'm a mountain leader, it's one of my hobbies. So, as well as Snowdonia, which I wouldn't say is on my doorstep at 3 hours from Birmingham, but I'd always be at the mountains, sort of every other week I've been travelling to the mountains and up to the Lake District as well. So we had a look around the Lake District, couldn't find anything. And clearly remember, we're actually a rare weekend away together. It did happen down there. I said to Claire, what's your search area? So, you get like the circles if you've ever looked at Rightmove, just went like that and widened it. It found a few more properties, and cut a long story short, we went and visited where we live now, and there's a couple who are probably now in their mid-80s. They were finished and sense of retirement-wise, went to downsize with their children in Keswick, and got this woodland in this house. So showed us around the house, this lovely house. And would you like to see the woodland? Well, we didn't actually care about the house. It's setting up the business. It's like, yes, please. And it's quite funny. My dad's taken a picture of me, because Mum and Dad were with us at the time, walking back over the road after seeing the woodland. It's like this Cheshire cat grin. We just said to them at that point, can we put a deposit down, get it off the market? And God just totally opened that up. As you'll see from some of the pictures in the photos, it's a real blessing, what He's given us. So that's where we come from, and why we've come up here. So we run something called Stockswood Outdoor Centre. I'll talk about Forest School because I don't call it Stockswood Forest School. Has anyone, don't be embarrassed if you haven't, has anyone not heard of Forest School? Okay, yeah, if you I'll explain what it is in a second, but when we came up here, because it's massive down south, when we came up here, people would say, oh, how come you've moved up here, what are you doing? And we'd say, we're opening a forest school. What's that? So then you'd explain, and they'd go, oh, we've got lots of trees, and it's not about trees really. So even in the 8 years that we've been here, it has exploded. There's a lot more of it around. So what actually is it? I did this last night, so I was trying to remember what's on each slide, so bear with me. Oh, lovely mugshot of me on the right. Beautiful looking cloud. So that's our woodland on the right hand side there. We've got 6 acres. It's a terrible trek in the morning. So in Birmingham, I live, one of my schools was 7 miles away, and I was terrible. I really was a workaholic. I don't say that lightly. I used to get into work for 7 o'clock, being there first, be the last one to leave, often work 70-hour weeks, much to my detriment, and sad to say, to the family as well. But you can imagine in Birmingham, if you don't leave early, you just sat used to tail the traffic. My commute now is over that road. So it's a bit of a change, so we're really blessed. So we've got 6 acres, and the right-hand side, if you think of a line north to south, the right-hand side is pretty much our forest school. When we moved there, the previous couple that I mentioned, the Sotheby's, they had actually grown the entire woodland. And often as people come into the woods, we say, how old do you think the woodland is? And it's quite natural for you to think 100 years, 200 years, it's an established woodland. It's actually only about 38, 40 years old now. So they moved in the 80s. Julie was a lecturing botanist, and she planted the entire woodland. And it's interesting chatting to a few locals who have seen it over the decades grow, because it was literally a field, like you can see on the left and right. Now it's this established woodland. And the only thing that was there was a little shed, and some tracks that they had made with a ride-on mower, and a pond, which they dug out with JCB, and that was it. So we had the lovely task of turning it into an outdoor centre. So that's where we are. And that's down at Rosley, so it's going to be B5305 from Penrith to Wigton, that road. We're at Rosley, about 4 miles away from Wigton, if you know where that is. So, what is this forest school at Arcade? The easiest way to explain it is that it's 6 principles. This is where it gets a little bit funny, and I don't apologise for this. I've got a lot of forest school friends, and forest school it's not an organisation. There is a body, a Forest School Association, but they're very particular about these 6 principles. So very quickly, it's the fact that it's teaching, and it is teaching, not just children, but let's talk about children at the moment, over a long period of time. So it's not a one-off trip, it's access to these to the visitors regularly. It's nature. You need some trees. Can you do it at school? 100% most of you do it in my school. The more trees, the better, but you need to be outdoors. The community side of it is that it's child focused, and purists in forest school, it's very much about the children will come into this area and they do what they want to do. You might have a rough plan, and you can sort of guide them a little bit, but if they want to do something else, you do what they want to do. Very, very child-led, and I'll come back to that in a moment. The risk principle is, you think about modern society, it's all cotton wool, don't do that, you might hurt themselves, they might sue you. And this goes totally against the grain of that. It's let them actually have a go at doing things. It's not, just let them do it, it doesn't matter if they get hurt. Everything's risk assessed and risk managed. You teach children about taking healthy risks. So the risks are there, but they're managed. The holistic side is that it's not one type of learning. It's not a curriculum that's fixed like schools will have. So I was tied to a curriculum in school that I worked in. We've got the national curriculum, obviously, but this is the whole child, intellect, emotions, the whole package. The leadership is that there is a structure to it. So it's qualified forest school practitioners that actually lead these sessions, and they've gone away and had a week's training, they've got a file together, it's like the equivalent of an A-level, a week's assessment and first aid and what have you. So it's not something you just do on a whim just because you like being outdoors. There is rigor to it. So those are the principles of forest school. We do that, but we're a little bit different at Stocksford because Claire and myself have got this teaching experience from before. The way that we do it is we offer that very much in the afternoon. Our mornings are more structured. So we'll do a lot of hide and seek games, and we've had adults come to us, we have all ages, you'll see them out from some of the slides. And we'll play games, we'll toast marshmallows, we'll make fire, and then for the the schools that are coming, they'll tell us what their topics are. So it'll vary. So tomorrow and Friday, we've got schools that are looking at the differences between the seasons, looking at different animals and their habitats. We might have someone who's looking at Scottish and Antarctic. We have schools in January every year. This class comes the year. The same year group come each year. They do their ice topic. We make a boat for the Terranova, if you know your history. It's got to go on an expedition, and then we get really sad because we find the Norwegian flag there. We make a Roman wall when we do the Mile castles, like you've got an Hadrian's wall, so it's really varied. The only thing I've ever said to the teacher I'm not doing is teeth. It's like coming to Woodland and they want us to teach the children about teeth. It's like, no. But we do a lot of things that you think, how do you do that in the Woodland? So our morning's more structured, that's the way that we work. We can input into the children. The afternoon, we call it flow time. There's bug hunting, there's plant dipping, there's den building, the more traditional sort of forest school approach. So forest school came originally from Scandinavia, back in the 80s, I think it was, late 80s, no, 92 I think it was. Nursery school went over to North, I think it was Norway, or Denmark, and they saw what they do over there, because formal education doesn't start till 6 or 7 in Scandinavia, but children will go to a forest school from the age of 2 to 3, and they'll be out there all weathers, snow as you can imagine, just wrapped up, they'll sleep in a hammock, it doesn't matter what the weather is, and you end up with children going to formal school then at 6 or 7, they're so much more rounded, emotionally resilient, and it's all caught on basically. Drip, that effect has grown within the UK, and it's made its way up north. So as I say, 8 years ago, what was forest school? Literally no one knew. It wasn't like 90% of people would say, oh, what's that? It was like 99.9% of people. So even in the last 8 years, that has grown. There's more forest schools around now, and we've got 8 years for being a brand new business. Now we've had 60 schools that have come to us over the last 8 years. We have about, I think, something like 38 that regularly come every year, so we're really pleased with that. So that's what forest school is. Who actually comes to us? A real mixture. We are a business. I think sometimes people forget that because we try and be really open and friendly to them. But we are a business, and schools are our main visitors really, so and it's all year round. January's our quiet month, February varies, maybe 50%, March onwards, we're fully booked now as holidays from now until the summer, and the autumn's pretty much like that as well. We have family sessions, we used to do those last Saturday of each month, we do those in the holidays as well, so you can book on with your family and come and enjoy 2 hours in the woodland, doing a lot of activities. You'll see in the pictures in a moment. So it's a great opportunity to get the children away from doing that, which is nothing wrong with doing that, but there is something wrong with doing that all the time. And as you've seen in society, it's easy, isn't it, with the world that we live in, just to say, oh, broken Britain. I was chatting to a grandparent this morning about it, and it is true, there's a lot of negativity that's going on, but we can start to turn the tide on that a little bit. And it's amazing, the children, you think of the children today sitting on their bikes around. I look on Facebook and see people saying, the youth bombing down their bikes, swearing at people and all this, that and the other. And it's fantastic to see those same type of children in the woodland, 10, 11-year-old boys, imagine what they can be like, in a mud kitchen, playing, role-playing. The same children in a different scenario would be, gestures and what have you. So we provide something that children need, and it makes a difference with them. We have corporate sessions, so we do team building days and well-being days, and we've worked with people like MenCap and Family Action, which up here was Bernardo's, that's now known as Family Action. So we've got lots of different groups coming in for that. We do birthday parties. This morning was our preschool, so I had 8 families this morning that come every fortnight. The numbers vary on that a little bit. And we were doing bees today, so we were buzzing around as bees and pollinating flowers, making bees and things. And we also have community groups, as I mentioned, NCAP and others. Be Unique is an autism charity that we do a lot of work with. Last week we had Foster Families UK, they came to us with fostering families, that was just super to see them. So there's a real mixture of things as well. What they actually do, one of the easiest ways is to share it. Picture speaks 1,000 words and all that. So we've got Fairy Lane, because obviously fairies are real. Yes.
I know.
Yes. Yeah, I know if you're a lover of clothes, you get a lot of these. You'd love our Fairy Lane. Okay? And particularly when we make tiny fires, and I talk to children about a little bit of fluff that they think is cotton wool that we do flipping steel to make a fire. We say, no, it's the fluff from the fairies' pillows. And then you'll have the smart child say, well, why is it in a cotton wool bag that you're putting it out of? And I'm like, no, that's because you know that fairies are real. So are the elves and the goblins. They steal it, so I hide it in a cotton wool bag. They think it's cotton wool and they go and steal it. So, smart, mate, smart. So yeah, different areas within the woodland. It's a managed woodland. So I did have a head teacher. We get to know the teachers incredibly well. I had a head teacher pull my leg saying, oh, I finish at 2:30 then, because obviously schools have to get back to their school. That's all right then, isn't it? Little did he know I finished at 10 o'clock that night. It was in summer. Go back to the woods, there's always something to do. So it's a managed woodland. If you come to us, it'd be lovely to see you. You are very welcome. There's stone paths, there's wood chip paths. It's there for people to enjoy, not to go in and go, where do I stand? So what else have we got there? So yeah, pond dipping, lots of nature crafts going on. What else have we got? Bushcraft skills. So is forest school bushcraft? No, but it includes bushcraft. So we've got a whole range of tools, whether it be knives, bill hooks, saws, and peelers. We'll teach children how to use those, which is fantastic. And lots of little different knot skills. We've got to make a little star there. So we've got this, you see in the background on the left, there's an adventure playground with slides and things, with sand pits. Claire's not going to sleep there, she's actually playing hide and seek. For those of you that come to Stocksford, we've got a couple of games that we play all the time, and that's something that the children and families really like. There's the regularity of it. So if you come, you will play Green Man. Okay, I can tell you now, some people play it every day, and it's a hide and seek game, but someone's joining in with Claire there. Getting to grips with nature, we've got bird feeders. Look at those. Obviously making dens and shelters. I was going to put a video on one of the classic ones is the younger children nursery reception doing familiar tales, so your little Red Riding Hood and things like that. We have sometimes we do the story of the 3 little pigs. So they go and make shelters, and I warn them when they're doing it that the big bad wolf has heard that they're going to be making these shelters. So we've made little piggy masks, laminated elastic on, so they have those on. Which is great because it gives a bit of facial protection from the fact that the big bad wolf can't think who he is. With his mask on, there's got a petrol leaf blower, comes to try and blow down their shelter. So we have a lot of fun as well. What else have we got? So there's our pond, different pond dipping platforms. We're very excited at the moment. We've got 2 resident warning. I think they're not the same ones as 8 years ago. This is our second batch, but we do have warning chicks every year. You can imagine for the children who keep coming back and just love it. See these little black pom-poms swimming around. So they're over in the nest, sort of right in the back middle at the moment. They're there this morning. And with April, who's caught a newt this morning. Newts are coming back in, so they hibernate over the winter. What else have we got? And then middle of the woodlands, our fire circle. So I talked about weather, and you might think, January, you're absolutely mad. But we don't, the only weather we don't operate in is high winds, for obvious reasons, with branches coming down, and thunderstorms with lightning. Anything else is about the clothing. Yeah, it's not being the bad weather, it's bad clothing, so we encourage you to layer up. The coldest we ran a session, I think, was -5. Okay, and I mean, that was extreme, but you just manage it differently. So that was a class of 30 children, and they were either or they were doing running around activities. You just manage things differently. But that's actually two ex-army parachutes, one above the other, so it's always totally dry in air. Since then, I don't think I've got it on that picture. I've actually got, that's a really old one actually, it's changed a bit. I've got a gazebo sign all the way down, so it's, if it's windy, you're protected as well. What else have we got? Oh, if you know Claire Walmsley, there's Richard on the left. So he came with some people from the NHS to do a team building session. They're using a Kelly kettle to boil some water for a cup of tea there. It's always a bit persuasive, and then if you want a drink, you're going to light a fire and actually boil your own water for it. And she's cleaving some wood in the middle, and that's me doing my bit of bushcraft there. Children doing Stone Age, Year 3, always do Stone Age. That's part of the national curriculum, so that's using literally a proper flint and steel, as in a piece of rock and steel to light some straw. What else have we got? It feels wrong to sort of look at Christmas time, this time of year, doesn't it? We do carols around the campfire every Christmas, so Croft and Chris Vernon will come and join me, either himself or I'll be on the keyboard, we'll apply the music there. It's just lovely, the woodland's all lit, there's lots of steps down into the woodland. We do have a dogleg track as well, so there's wheelchair access. It's all lit up and it's just fantastic. There we go, so we'll sit down with twinkly lights and lots of food and drink. And Christmas carols, I do that in the winter as well. I've got a woodland, so I've got a natural source of wood, so I'm starting to get into wood turning. If anyone's got any tips, I appreciate it, some self-taught, so make some of those as well. Can't be hammered. Who's never been in a hammock? Oh, you've got to come to Stockwood. I had a parent and they sat in here, I think it's her first time. She's been through school loads, so she's like, oh, this is just amazing. Right in the sun as well. So we've got several of those around the room. Yeah, that is the problem if you fall out with it. There's a way to bum, I always say to the children, bum first. You've got to sit with your bum first. So try and get your legs in, you will do it. But hammocks are silly, but I quite often will sleep out and a bit crazy like that. But they're really good. I've got a toaster marshmallow as well. So that's really good. And then lots of nature there. We've got deer in the woodland. Can't guarantee that you'll see them, but they come in for probably about 10 months of the year. They're there most days. The robin there, that's there every single day. The kids love it. As I say, a lot of schools will come back regularly. We tend to find you'll have some schools that come once a year, so obviously that goes against the grain of forest school, but that's a matter. Then we'll have schools that will come, say, 3 times a year, where each class will come over one day. So you'll have a school book a week and a half, and each day a different class will come, and then they'll come back in the spring, and then they'll come back in the summer. And it's been fantastic. We've got to know children. A lot of people say, you miss teaching, and although I did senior management, I'm a class teacher, but that's my real heart, my passion. And I don't miss it because of all the bureaucracy, as you can imagine, in most public services. But we do get to know the children. So this year we'll actually have children that we'll have seen from reception from when they're 4 years of age to they're just about to go to secondary school. And it's amazing the relationships you get with the children. We'll have 5-year-olds that haven't been for 4 months. That's their first visit, say 4 months ago. And they'll get off the minibus or coach, and they're literally singing our forest school songs. They're walking down the steps because it's made such an impact on them 3 or 4 months ago. So the robin comes into the fire circle every day looking for all the crumbs. Haven't got it on my hand yet. It's got within 2 inches. He sort of flew up and flew off. But and then we've got tawny owl, woodpeckers, so lots of different wildlife there. We are Christians, but that's part of the reason why we're here. So we don't push that. We're not a Christian business, if that makes sense. So if you know Madame Marion with their canoes, caves, mountains, that's very much part of what they do. We don't say, hi, we're Julian and Claire, we're Christians, we run Stockswood Outdoor Centre, but we live our faith through what we do. And it's been fantastic, really, to get to know so many people across all of those different groups that I've showed you. So within the schools, we're very, very privileged. you can imagine the things that the teachers tell us. I don't think it's wrong for me to say that, because I'm not going to tell you what they are. But there's a real sense of trust there, and because they know we've been where they are. So we get told a lot of things that goes in one ear and stays there. And with the families, like this morning with preschool, we get to know those families really well. And over the years, there's been some fantastic relationships, and we've been able to sometimes share wisdom and share our faith. I'm one of those people who I'm not, "Hi, I'm a Christian, such and such," but through my conversations, normally I mention about church because it's part of my life. It's what I do. Oh, at church, such and such. So it just comes into conversation. It's a natural thing. And we've just been really blessed by God to be where we are. It's a miracle to think that I was working all of those hours, and I'm still working hard now for literally half the money, if not less. But God has put me there for a purpose. God's put us there for a reason. He's opened up that door for us. Physically, to actually have the land that we've got. I mean, we're incredibly blessed when you actually look at that. It was the best part of a year it took to sink in. You literally just go down there and it's like, this is ours. And I don't take that lightly, and I really thank God for that, for his blessings. And really, our way of evangelising is just living who we are as Christians, and hopefully that light, that salt, as the Bible talks about, is shared, with those that are around us, and through conversations and us praying into people's lives, those conversations will be blessed, and we can get to know people through relationships, because that's what our faith is about, having a relationship with our Heavenly Father, and that's really what it's about, sharing with everyone else, that they can see. I mean, one of the things which you laugh at is how do you work together, husband and wife? I mean, all joking apart, that's pretty full on, isn't it? We don't get any downtime. Yes, I mean, it's always not listening. Is he on his phone? He is, he's on his phone.
He's playing with his phone, yes.
Nothing at all, mate. All joking apart, though, God's blessed that, because we do work together, and our journey has been sort of seeing each other's strengths over the last 8 years, and allowing each other to sort of work within the business. And there's so many different testimonies I could give you over the years of what God's done for us. COVID, we had no money, yet we literally had, I can't remember the amounts, about £100 or £150 appear from nowhere, had an envelope with this money in it. That's God. I don't overemphasise the fact we had no money come through. When the government were doing their handouts, because we were a new business, it just worked out. We ended up around 20% of what most businesses were getting from sort of the cash handout. We didn't ever go without. God has looked after us, and that's certainly one of my big testimonies. No matter how hard life is, and we've had some amazing blows as a family. I lost my mum 4 to 5 years ago, literally just before COVID, the autumn before COVID, and that was a real humdinger. Her name was Faith, and she was a woman of faith. The amount of people she knew and was involved with was just phenomenal. It's like, man, how she died of skin cancer. She was believing God would heal her, and He has healed her. Not how I would have liked it, but just because you're Christian doesn't mean everything's hunky-dory all the time. But you know God is there, and He's got His hand on it, and He's in control. We can't get our little pea brain around that sometimes, but He's got it sorted, and it's learning to trust in Him. So a few things, because I'll just go on otherwise my dentist will get cross. Really appreciate if you do have a moment and you can pray for us. A few things there that we will have those opportunities to witness. That there's a lot of needy people out in the world, so that God will enable us to share His love with them. Finances, we're blessed that we're fully booked. We don't charge a lot. we're in that tricky situation that the children of the schools have to pay sometimes more than what they pay us to the coach to get to us. So we're sort of like, we're squashed out in that respect. But as I say, God has looked after us, but that's been a thing of pain. If you can imagine leaving school, going to university, going to work, that's all I've ever known. And as a teacher, my bank account always had X amount of money in it. Going from that to starting your own business where I have no idea what I'm going to get this month, that was, and I'm the sort of person I'm like, I'm a bit of a control freak, once you get to know me, and I apologise about that. So that still is a little bit, but God's in control. For wisdom, running a business, new ideas, the family sessions that we're doing, those used to be super popular. They're waning a little bit. Do we do things differently? How do we do things differently? So having wisdom within the business. Praying for the weather. We've been really fortunate. We've only been flooded once, and that was during the night. So it's a once in 30-year occurrence apparently in our area. But we are governed by the weather. So for that and for health, part of the reason Claire's not here this afternoon, she'll be back this evening with me with our and get ready for Sunday. She's got long COVID. She found that about 18 months ago, and one of the big things for her is chronic fatigue. She just suffers really badly with it. You wouldn't know because she's such a gung-ho person, but it's a massive thing for her. So for both of us, for our health, obviously we don't work, we don't get paid. I've only had one day where I couldn't do it. I literally my back went, but that God would continue to sustain us. So hope that gives you a bit of a snapshot, and with the pictures and things. Our website, if you ever want to have a look at it, I need to update it. It's Stocks Without Paul Centre, dead easy. If you're on Facebook, you can see us there. There's some people like some of the things that they see. You always put up pictures from the activities. He's been playing the big bad wolf again. But no, I appreciate you having the time for me to share about that, and gives you an idea of what we do.
Absolutely brilliant. We've got a few minutes for questions. While you have a look, if you have a